Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to our webinar that will talk about Flowmon's new versions of operating system, Flowmon ADS and Flowmon's DDoS Defender. And today with me, we have our product owners, Lubos, who's responsible for NPMD parts, so Flowmon OS, and he will also be presenting Flowmon ADS today, and Martin, who's responsible for DDoS. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much.
And my name is Arthur, and I'll be your host today. Please do send us your questions throughout the whole call. We'll be answering them on the fly, and then perhaps we'll keep some for the end of the webinar. I'm expecting this one to take about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on your questions. And we will make sure to record the session so that you can replay it later, and we'll send you links a few days after this session. All right, let's get rolling. Who will we start with? Lubos, is that you?
If you prefer that.
All right.
Okay, good. So let me share my screen. Yeah, I will do a quick intro. My name is Lubos Monter. I'm product owner for NPMD products in Flowmon Networks, and I've prepared the summary and overview of the latest release, Flowmon 10.3. Then I will show you some features from Flowmon 11, which is the next version. So you have image, what is the direction of Flowmon, and then I will show you some new stuff from the very new ADS, the security module of Flowmon.
That's great, and you'll be switching between live demo and slides as well.
Right. I have just few slides with agenda summary and that kind of stuff, and then I prefer to show you everything within the live demo.
All right, that's great. And looking at our screen, we're using wide lens here, so don't move too close to the camera if you're going to take more than half of the picture.
Okay, I'm not fat, it's just a wide screen. Okay, cool. So let's jump into Flowmon 10.3. What's new there? The top news from my perspective is configuration templates, which is something allowing users to go online with Flowmon very fast to have their data and configuration in few clicks. And I will show you how easy it is to configure all the stuff like profiles and channels and chapters and all the stuff you don't like to set up, but it's just it's just done on the background by a few clicks.
So effectively, you're deploying new Flowmon. It's completely blank. There's nothing configured, and then you go ahead and choose from library some pre-configured or predefined configurations.
Yeah, exactly.
And then take it from there. All right.
Yeah, exactly. And you can really choose what you are about to monitor. So it's really like like Wizard, or just step by step. It leads you how to do that. Another area from the improvements is the user experience. So I will show you the new Flowmon dashboard, how it works, and also then I will follow with the Flowmon 11, like another improvements of dashboard, so you can see, the direction of those UX improvements. Some smaller adjustments, or how to say that, it's the user role management by RESTful API, which was required by some of our customers. Then showing the hardware rate status in the configuration center, so you can check if everything works well or not. Then we have added the TLS 1.3 standard support. So if you monitor the TLS communication, it means the handshake information, storing the handshake information within the flow data. So you can use this feature even if you run 1.3 protocol, you are not losing visibility into the information from the TLS protocol. So even if you do not do the decryption, you can still do the monitoring of the encrypted traffic. So you can do the compliance of using usage of the Cypher suite and strength of their Cypher suite. So this is why it was important to support this TLS 1.3 protocol, and then another group of improvements is like performance adjustments, security optimizations, new kernel, new PHP. So this is like the agenda.
So let's jump into the demo.
Yeah, let's do that.
We already have some questions. Maybe we'll start with the new one. There's a question whether we're talking about version 10.3 or is it 10.03?
It's yeah, the last .012 is just minor version. I will be, but what I'm showing here is the version 3.1032. So that means it's just everything we have in the branch of 10.3. Right. So this is, but I would say that those minor versions like .02 in this case is just bug fixes, that there are very rarely new features in those bug fixing versions. So the point here is the news in 10.3. So yeah, let's start with the dashboard. This is the very new dashboard using new technology. It allows us to be more flexible when creating your own dashboard. You can just move with the widgets. They are adaptable. You can let me show you here. You can even switch between default layout, which means maybe you may know this from Gmail or other systems which adapt your user interface. They do more spaces. If you are in the default, then you can go for the more comfortable displaying, like you can see more widgets in one place, and even the compact view where it's just really how to say that it's stretched in the layout. So I prefer to use here the comfortable layout. Here you can move with tabs. You can have on the dashboard. So this is like the new system of workflow on the dashboard. But what is really cool is the configuration templates, and I will go and show you how that works. So let's switch into Configuration Center where they are managed. And here we have a new chapter, configuration templates, and there is an offering of your configuration templates, which are available. They are spread via Flowmon services, so we can easily update configuration templates. Then if you are about to monitor, for example, DNS protocol, you can just click here that you would like to import this you would like to apply this configuration template, or you can show what that really means to monitor DNS. So you can see the content of the template. It will create for you profiles, report chapters. You can go through them. You can see how it looks like after the applying of the configuration template. So everything is done automatically for you. And let's just see some technical data in the bottom. You can see how the channels are specified. You can always do like tuning if you would like to adjust something. You can do that. And let's see how it works. So we can apply the template, and we can find users for which we would like to apply this template. We can do some configuration in the next steps. And Yeah, so you can choose whether you would like to have also the dashboard created or reports and the stuff. So for now, let's create everything, and the configuration is being done on the background. That means that you do not need to do anything manually here. You just need to wait until the profiles, chapters, of course, channels and profiles are created. And you can see the status bar here. It will take about 1 minute to get it ready. So maybe meantime, I will show you something from Flowmon 11, which is the next version. We are right now, it is under development, and we are following up on the UX improvements, and we have created new types of widgets. That means you can have status widget. You can see easily what is the status of your flow sources, what is the overall status of your applications in case you use Flowmon APM, what is the security status if you are using the Flowmon ADS. So everything is in one place. But what is more important for me is that it's super easy to create these dashboards again. So once you create the new tab on the dashboard, you can choose from predefined dashboard. Then you just choose whether you would like to create predefined dashboard from NetOps perspective, SecOps perspective, application perspective, or the status one. So let's do the NetOps. You can change the name, create, and everything is being created for you on the background, and the dashboard is ready to use after that. Previously, in the previous versions, once you clicked on the create widgets, it was like randomly chosen widgets from your chapters. Right now, you have full control what you would like to see on the dashboard.
I'm not sure if you have Flowmon APM installed on this instance, but I saw really cool widgets there that can give you like overall idea about the performance of your application straight away from the dashboard without any need of like running down or seeing anything. So apart from those top level widgets, we're also introducing some more functional widgets that you haven't seen before, right? Which is exactly the case of the one in the upper left corner, actually.
Yeah, right. That's right. This is something completely new in Flowmon 11. The widgets are more detailed. They provide you more information, more in-depth information in case you are about to monitor the depth. Mm-hmm. But I see also the value of the overall status, because sometimes our customers do have different kind of users, right? If the user's responsibility is to keep an eye on the overall status of the network, they often are not interested in the detail. So for them, they can create for them very general dashboards. They do not need necessarily to see all the details. If they do need to see the details, they can create the deeper the widgets with the deeper detail, right? So this is something completely new in Flowmon 11. And yeah, let me show you the new reporting, which is another stuff in Flowmon 11 with another improvements in reports. And what is really new is the scheduling of the reports, more detailed scheduling. So let me create some new report. Yeah, you can choose chapters. You can again filter out the chapters related to some use case or module. So let's do some security stuff. You can edit the report. Again, you can use this intuitive ordering, and once doing the schedule, you can just use this advanced scheduling options. So it's super easy to create these kind of reports. Then you can pick the format and just schedule the report here. So this is what we already have in Flowmon 11. We are another big change will be user rights improvements and going deeper in the multi-tenancy. That means that we will be able to provide a native multi-tenancy. So that means the data will be not driven only by the user role management, but it's the more advanced system of splitting the data, so we can ensure that the customer, for example, some MSP can create separate instances for their end customers, and the system ensures that everyone sees only the data from his sources, from his channels, chapters, and that there is no need to go there is no need to do the user role management in such how to say that, in not straightforward way, as we have our recent multi-tenancy is kind of workaround in the sense that it's not native, right? The data is only driven by the user role management. After Flowmon 11 is out, it will be easy to create and to split your device into separate and independent virtual devices. So this will be really easy to maintain. Any questions so far on that?
We do have some questions. One question is whether, and that actually goes back to the library of pre-configured dashboards. And the question goes, hello, does it mean that with configuration templates, I'm able to add specific attributes for IPFix just to extend the current rather small number of supported vendors? If no, when are you going to add the functionality of creating own templates for IPFix, just to add to a database all required fields which are shared by different manufacturers?
Yeah, right now in the configuration templates, you can choose from the list of predefined, and this question is not easy to answer because there are two answers on that. If we have some third-party vendor adding some IPFix extension into their own IPFix implementation, in some cases we do mapping on our own IPFix fields. In that case, you can use it easily with the recent configuration templates, and then there is no need to do anything. If the IPFix extension of the third-party vendor is not mapped on ours, right now it is not covered on in the configuration templates, but the future of configuration templates is like really open. It should be like the user's tool. So it will be easy to create own users configuration templates. And this is something you can share with, if you are a partner and you sell some third-party vendor which has some IPFix extensions, you can create your own. You will be able to create your own IPFix or your own templates using those extensions. And I see a possibility or opportunity for us to create a community around those configuration templates, because once some user creates something useful for him, it's very good to share it. What do you think, Arthur, about that?
Absolutely, and I think that the next question that we have that says, it's cool, but it's always only the design and not the exploitation for the team every day that they change way to create profiles and share it with many users automatically based on parameters and things like this. And I think that we're actually starting with providing an easy to navigate list of pre-configured views on the data, and then the next step would be to how to share between users and how they can create their own and give it to their teammates or share it across the community. So
Another idea we are working already on is to have like a marketplace of those configurations. So you can imagine that like library which allows you to pick what is relevant for you, and this is something which I personally do want to users not creating that profiles, chapters by their own. They should not necessarily know about it. What why end user needs to know about profile and chapter. So I agree.
Install it, whatever you want, and then
so this is definitely aligned with our vision, and we are working on that. Definitely, this is something which users will appreciate. I'm sure about that. And yes, the question confirms that.
All right, and last question, and actually we need to speed up a bit, but the last question for this is whether we would include encrypted traffic analysis pre-configuration for that.
Yeah, let me check if the TLS is the TLS is already between or among those application protocols. Of course, we need to realize here that in case of monitoring TLS, you have to collect IPFix with Pro or from some vendor for which we do have already the support. I know that we support the TLS from Gigamon already. Maybe there are others. But this is something you already can cover by configuration templates. And maybe I can show you details, but once you apply this configuration template, what is being created for you. So yeah, let's get maybe moving. Okay, but we can cover other parts as well. Okay, so maybe I can switch to the ADS part.
That will be great. Unless we have something important to cover in the Flowmon, I don't think so. We've covered the new dashboard and reporting. We've covered configuration templates. We've covered the role management, and those I believe are the most important parts. Yes. And for the rest, please refer to our release notes available on Flowmon blog. And let's get moving to the ADS then.
Okay, so I will show you again some summary, what's new in ADS. So again, we are moving or we are improving the user experience here. So there's completely redesigned interface. There is new filter management feature, which is really useful, and I will show you again how cool it is. Then user has option to use his own reputation feeds, either some web service or some CSV file. There are new external services available to use. The syslog export contains the data feeds and perspectives, which was again some customers' requirement and very useful for customers collecting the data in CM systems. And there is integrated IDS collector. So I will show you again the online demonstration of the new interface. So this is the dashboard of ADS 10.0. Here, again, the concept of perspectives is here remains, but you can identify that the dashboard looks completely different. And let me show you the workflows. You can see you can do filtering in the top, and then you can use two views on the data dashboard. The first is per priorities or per methods. So let's say you would like to go per priorities and you would like to investigate just the critical events. So you can just choose some time interval. You can see which events were in the time interval. What is really new here is the comparison of the previous interval. So then you can see how it looked like for the last 4 hours and the previous last 4 hours. So you can always compare the situation for the interval before the displayed interval, which is really useful. You can then identify whether this is some regular event or how it should look like in the network. Then the new aspect here is showing the trend, if it is going wrong or vice versa. And then when drilling down to the events detail, you can see like the chart showing in time the event and the details there. Yeah, maybe I will choose some wider interval. Okay. Another detail. Another thing I would like to show you here is showing the filter where the IP address belongs to. So you can imagine that you create your own filters for example, critical infrastructure, printer servers, some public-facing services, internal systems, and then during the investigation, you can always see easily where the source IP address belongs to. You can work with those filters, and you can, immediately identify how important is it for you, because I can imagine that it's different once you see here some, I don't know, some sandbox, or whether you are dealing with problem on some critical service facing customers. So
I think there are different risks involved and
right.
impacts.
So this is something, and let me show you the filter management.
And maybe before you get there, I think maybe just to wrap up, I think that the biggest difference is really in the workflow, in a way that instead of just switching back and forth in different views and different tabs, you can really go cascade style to drill down to get more details about events and kind of make it just easier to put things and information together on a single view.
Yeah, that's right. And we discuss with our customers, we discuss the workflow, and this is something we learned from customers, that once they're investigating the incident, what they do, the first thing is to check what is the device, what is the affected device, right? That's why we have added the external services. You can do ping on the one click. You can use another external services for during the investigation. I will show you here, right? You have some IP tools by hand. You can do this external. You use external services. This reflects the real workflow, how users investigate incidents. And also the filters are super handy for them, because they already have their network split into different filters, so they can easily work with those data. So why not to show them how, in which part of the network it belongs to, right? So yeah, let me show you here the filters. So for example, here we do have a filter for critical infrastructure. It's you can use IP ranges when creating, but you can also use the operations. So here I prepared filter which uses the previous one I showed you, the critical infrastructure, but you subtract IP addresses which are included in another filter. So you have some advanced operations when using filters. So this is really useful for the smooth workflow. And the last thing I would like to stress out here is the false positive. When there is one small but super handy feature that you can just deactivate the false positive. That means if you are doing some investigation or you do not want to lose the data and the false positive rule, you just deactivate that temporarily, and then you can go back and activate it again or reactivate it again. So this is something which is again, useful, and it comes from customers. They requested that.
So the difference is activating, and deactivating instead of deleting and then recreating it.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. Okay. That's right. Yeah. So this is the most important stuff which is new. But yeah, I believe that we should have had the separate webinar just for the new ADS. There is a lot of improvements. So
we will be actually releasing next major version. They'll come with stream data processing, which means reducing time to detection with some multiplying factor. And we'll definitely talk about that again. So I'm expecting at the beginning of the next year we'll have another session specifically for ADS, because there's a lot of new stuff in there, and as you said, it requires a bit more drill down.
Yeah, so if there are no questions related to ADS, I will pass the answer to Martin. Or
we actually have one last question, because the rest was actually answered by you as you were presenting. Any idea when version 11 will be available for us for the upgrade? A new ADS version also. So I think those are two questions. Flowmon 11 and ADS 11.
Yes, Flowmon 11, I expect spring 2020 to be in beta available. And for Flowmon ADS, I think it's Q1, but I'm not the product owner of ADS, so
we unfortunately had to ask you to cover for our colleague and take over. ADS version 10 that you see right now is been released as beta, right? And we're expecting this to become stable in spring next year, which is also this period when we'll be releasing another version 11, that will have the same feature set, only capable of stream data processing, which means reducing time to detect. And with better detail, we can come back to you offline. All right. Thank you very much. And moving on to Flowmon DDoS Defender. So Martin, stage is yours.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. Nothing is happening. Okay, works. Okay, so let me just briefly introduce myself. I'm Martin Škoda, and I'm product owner of DDoS Defender, our module for DDoS, volumetric DDoS attack detection and mitigation orchestration. So today I will be presenting you with the news in the version 5, and I'm really excited to do that, because this is a version which has been cooking for some time and brings several new features, big features. Here is a list, so I will just summarize before I show you more details. So first of all, we are now working in a stream architecture. So the detection engine is now working on the streams, and it provides us with the high performance and quicker detection speeds. Another major area was to improve the user experience and modernize the UI. And another thing we focused on is to really extend the detection capabilities of the module and provide much higher customizability for the user, so they can better tune the detections. So let's start with the stream processing. As I said, we are now processing the flows continuously instead of batches. So this allows us to detect the attacks much quicker. internally we are working on 1 second level. However, the shortest, let's say, detection speed is 10 seconds. It's configurable by user, and it really makes sense to have it larger than 1 second, because otherwise you would see a lot of false positives, or you might see.
And sorry to jump in, but
Yeah.
this concept is exactly what is going to happen with Flowmon ADS at the beginning of next year, version 11, right?
Basically, our modules are going to from batch processing to stream processing, and the DDoS Defender is the first which introduced that.
Great.
And another benefit is high performance. So we are now talking about 1,000 protected segments per appliance, but this is actually depending on the platform and hardware resources provided to the virtual machine, or provided in the hardware appliance of the Flowmon collector. Next big thing, we have modernized the UI, let's say faceted the UI, so it now looks consistently, it's the same look you are used from the configuration center, monitoring center, and now also the ADS. But we didn't stop with the new looks. We also improved how the attack list looks like, what are the workflows, and we actually rearranged the attack list so it will provide you better insights and streamlined workflows of the user. So let's focus on the detail of the attack. As you can see, there are some information about the status with the countdown of the time mode, which is configured by user. Some simple line which shows you the trend of the network traffic during the attack. So you can see if the traffic volumes are increasing, decreasing, or stagnating. You can also see the target of the attack together with the attack vectors. So if it is general flood, UDP flood, or a different kind of attack. The action status was changed comparing to the previous versions, as we are now showing just a few last statuses to not overwhelm the user with information. And there is an action button which is different for attack groups by state. So I will show you on this screen. Here you can see that there are attacks grouped by the state. So we have active attacks with active mitigation, and the ended attacks, and each has a different action button. So it allows you to just on one click do what you need to do with the attack, respecting its status. Okay, let's move on. We also improved the attack details. So now there are different kinds of data we are visualizing. The previous top-end statistics are not present. They are replaced with statistics which are showing the traffic volumes before the attack, during the attack, and after the attack. And we also are showing the communication chart, which shows the traffic flows from attacker to victim, together with some volumes information, packets per second, bits per second.
Thank you very much for all the questions. We're busy with trying to answer them all. I also have some for the DDoS, so let me know, Martin, when you're ready to take it.
Yeah. In a minute.
Great.
I'll just finish this attack details and we can get to the questions.
Wonderful.
So this is how it looks like. It's actually now a full screen window with the summary of the attack information together with the traffic and baseline visualization. What some of the news is that you can visualize the traffic in packets or bits per second. So it will help you also to better analyze the attack. And then there is a statistics tab with the new statistics as I was talking about. So there are the charts for the traffic, how the traffic looked before the attack, during the attack, after the attack, and these charts are interactive, so you can click on the different traffic types to visualize just the traffic type and change the settings of the graph, so it will provide you a better understanding of the traffic and the attack traffic structures. Okay, so before I talk about segments, we can go to some questions.
I think one that comes, that will be nice to answer to the whole audience. Regarding to the DDoS, I have heard that you have some integrations or scenarios with A10 device. If that's correct, can you explain how does it work with A10? How does DDoS remediation is being realized with A10? If this question is just my mistake, which isn't, thank you for the question, or misunderstanding, please ignore.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, we have integration with the A10 devices, and it works actually similar or the same way as we integrate with other vendors like Radware and F5. And it's basically out-of-band detection and traffic redirection for mitigation. So we are collecting flows from edge routers, detecting the attack, and if we detect the attack, we are doing some steps to redirect the traffic to the A10 mitigation boxes, grabbing centers, where the attack is mitigated, and only the clean traffic is sent to the customer.
And what I really like about this new GUI is that you have all this information at the tip of your fingers. So once the mitigation starts, you can actually see the status visible on the timeline of events directly at the main dashboard, and it just seems that you have everything you need in a single view, and I find it really pretty useful and interesting. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but this also comes from the research we've done with our customers when we were looking at how to minimize the number of clicks they need to do in order to do the job that they want to do.
Yeah, you're correct.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay.
Another question would be whether NetFlow is enough for this DDoS detection.
Yeah, NetFlow is good for the detection. You can also go with SFlow, which is sampled flow. So any supported flow format, which is NetFlow, IPFix, SFlow, and many others, can be used for the DDoS detection.
Yeah, but let's be clear here. If we are talking about volumetric DDoS detection, that's right. If somebody would like to cover like the whole scale, or layer 2 up to layer 7 DDoS detection, for that cases is definitely NetFlow not enough. But here we again complement with A10, for example, as it was mentioned, as they are able to do their precise detection and mitigation with their inline device. But we cover the volumetric use case for them. In case of volumetric attack, we redirect the attack to them, and they are able to do another analytics over that traffic, and they can detect another layer 7 attacks within that. But our use case is focused mostly on data centers or ISPs dealing really with the volumetric stuff.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, once we are for the volumetric part, and once it is redirected, our partners can cover the application layer attacks. But until then, we are talking about volumetrics.
Brilliant. We're nearly at the end, so let's go back to the slides. I think we have a couple of.
Okay. So what we also changed in the new version is how we work with segments. So it has now a separate configuration page, and the segments can be grouped now. So that helps us to define tenants with high granularity. So we can have one group for a customer, and within that group we can have more protected segments which describe the ranges we want to protect. So it doesn't have to be just one protected segment. And there is also a change in multi-tenancy, so the user roles are now accessing or the access permissions are now defined on the group level. So this is also something which will help our customers who are actually making services upon our DDoS Defender, who are basically selling the DDoS protection as a service to their customers. Another big thing in the segments is a baseline preview. So this was not previously available, and this allows user to visualize the baselines and the traffic for all supported traffic types and all baselines from all the detection methods within a defined time range. So even in peacetime, the user can analyze the baselines, and they can use it, for example, to tune the system, tune the detections. As I mentioned, we extended the attack detection capabilities of the Defender, DDoS Defender. So what that means, we added another baseline. It's weekday baseline. So it calculates it is calculated for the same day of the week for up to 4 weeks back. And it complements the continuous baseline, which is calculated for some defined period back in time.
So you're essentially comparing
Mondays to Mondays.
Mondays to Mondays.
Yeah, basically. We also extended adaptive baselines, which are our baselines. You don't need to basically configure, you just allow them and the detection works. So we extended this to calculate attacks or to detect attacks also for bits per second. So if there is some increases in bits per second, not in the packets per second, we can now detect this attack too. So all these new things allows us to tune the detection and detect the attack with high precision. We also wanted to provide user with the options to create their own custom baseline, so the user can define protocol and port pairs. It can be port, single port, or port range, and then they can use up to 5 of these custom baselines for each rule, and that means for each protected segment. So if you have a customer who wants to protect some services on applications which are running on specific ports, you can use it by defining custom baseline. What's also changed, because as we extended the detection capabilities, the detection rule definition is now extended to cover all these options. So now the detection rule is divided to subrules, and the subrules is basically detection method, traffic type, and some configuration of the detection method. So here on this picture we have an example of adaptive method, which is which uses the all traffic to detect the attacks, and then there are some other options to configure the subrule, the detection method. So as you can see here, the adaptive attack method can have various configurations. We can allow the continuous baseline or weekday baseline, and it can be configured to detect over the packets per second, bit per seconds, both or none. And there are some multipliers to tune the detection. So this is also something new which allows the users to basically configure the system the way they want and they need. Okay, so that's everything from my side. Are there any other questions, Arthur?
Brilliant. There were some, but again, you covered them just with the flow of your presentation. We've covered all of them, and we actually managed to cover some on your behalf during your presentation. Thank you so much for all the questions. There were so many, and We have some great feedback that I've sent to you over chat now, so that you can go back to it offline and maybe answer them as well. So to wrap up, we've worked on performance with stream data processing. That will also be available in Flowmon ADS soon. We've worked on workflow so that everything is available from single view with some cascading analytics. So that you don't have to mingle between a few tabs or windows. We've redesigned the way you work with dashboards and reports in a way that they are just so much more easier to customize, with predefined configuration templates that you can choose from, so that you don't have to configure them yourself, but just really go for something that we've done on your behalf, and we'll be working on extending these capabilities in the future. I believe these are the most important ones. We have 3 new questions just over the last half minute, so let's maybe see. Thank you for the great feedback that you had. And one last question is the baseline visible now? And I'm not sure what we're referring to.
Well, the baseline in the traffic chart is visible now only like now in the 4.x versions, not in this major. I'm referring to the older versions. It is visible in attack detail, so only when there is some attack. But in the new version, you will see or you are able to visualize these baselines also in the peacetime when there is no attack. So this is the major improvement.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much all for spending this time with us. We will make sure to provide a link to the recording of the session. I've also received feedback for quality of the audio. I do apologize. While we were testing, we didn't find any issues, and we're using quite high-end equipment. So we'll make sure to work on that for the future. Have a great day, and see you next time after Christmas. Enjoy the festive season well and get some rest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.